Creative ways to solve a business dispute. That's the topic today. So I want to get to some practical suggestions for a litigation or divorce, and a business is part of the issue here. So that's where I often get pulled into these things. Businesses lost profits, there's a divorce and a business is involved. How do you handle this in a reasonable way? So one suggestion I'll give you out of the gate is to consider a report for settlement as opposed to a report for trial. And this can be the difference between 4 figures and 5 figures in some cases. Now, you may want to say, well, why wouldn't I just go for the 4-figure report every time and just settle this thing? I just want to warn you, it depends on the stakes. It depends on how good the data is. And what I would encourage you to do is meet with an advisor, someone like myself, and figure out what the downside risk is by going with a settlement report that's limited in scope and limited in data. So that's one way to save on costs, save on time, and get to a resolution. Okay? The other way to potentially save money on this type of issue comes into play when you actually have the practical issue of how do you deal with the financial data you have in front of you. And this is a challenge I get all the time. So I had an attorney I met with, and she said, well, I have this Schedule C, and she showed it to me, and it shows losses, and I know they're living off this, so is it really losing money, and how do I deal with that within a limited budget? And it's a great question. So one of the things I would recommend is that, as a colleague pointed out to me, and it was a really astute observation, generally speaking, if the sales are something you can hang your hat on, you can work down from there. So substantiate the top line sales or revenue of that business. Sometimes you can use sales tax returns, sometimes you can use deposits. And from there, you can look at industry data and normal profit margins and estimate what a normal business with that type of sales would produce in income. And then you could use that to generate a value of that business for settlement, possibly. So that's one way to get around the data problem. Oftentimes I get tax returns. They may be fairly aggressive with their deductions, or they can just be utilizing a lot of tax methodology that doesn't translate well into the legal environment or determining the income and value of that business. So another option, in addition to a report for settlement, is looking at data for that industry to work around the problems of losses and maybe some not so reliable data that you're looking at. This is Josh Horn of Horn Valuation. Have a great day. Bye.